Finish up here with another pair of bigger crossbred barrows. We've got the 96-3 barrow on the whip right there. It's another bold move on a Barbosa sow. Go ahead and let Clay see what he thinks here.
Yeah, I think this is one that when he comes out, definitely one that's comparative, maybe a little greener, but man, I think feeding opportunity on this one is very high because his skeleton is so good. He's got a great look from the side, tall elevated at the point of his shoulder. This is one that I think, again, relative to some others we talked, that you buy this one, you just feed him, and he's going to do the work for you. You can work on what kind of muscle degree you want to make him depending on what show you're going to and who's evaluating. But just in terms of being a very basic, problem-free, easy-feeding type of a pig, I think this one is very good in that regards, and then still has a few of those extras in terms of having some extra look, some stoutness of feature in terms of his skull and jawline, his bone work. Again, this is one that probably compared to some other contemporaries isn't as extreme, but this is the kind that I think you can get bought, take home, feed easy, and you're going to catch a lot of them along the way because I think his skeleton and kind are so good.
Yeah, and this one, like I've mentioned several times, when you get these bold moves that are at the very best ones are the ones that got a shot more bone and a shot more just feature. And that one there might have the biggest hind leg of any of these of any of these bold move pigs, and that's kind of where you got to start on them. I mean, that one's the brim of that one's nose is just a little stouter than the average. Like I said, just from a feeding standpoint, I think this one is quite a bit of fun. I mean, the looks there, the skeleton's there, the bones there. You just gotta fluff that one up a little bit. But like I said, in terms of feeding window, I still think it's pretty wide. I think you could have that thing ready in early July, and if that was your plan, you could also stretch them into August if need be, if you want to sit on one for a while. But I think there's some flexibility there. But I do think at some point, just from a feeding standpoint, that one's obviously going to have to pour the coals of that one a little bit just to get him chunky enough and spread enough. But I dang sure think the skeleton's there to get that accomplished.
For sure. He's not one that if you want immediate muscle, he's not going to answer that call. But I do think you can feed that. And as I said, his base, his skeleton, his basic parts and pieces are so good that that's one that I think you need to look at and make sure you have on your short list if that's the kind you like to feed.
90-3 or 96-3, bold move Barbosa. We'll move on to the blue here. This one's 99-2, cross barrow, bold move, guns up. Guns up sow is kind of a special one here, and this actually just happens to be her second litter. First litter was maybe one of my favorite cross litters of all time. She had a year ago. That was a Viper litter. Sold a couple of barrows at Kingpins that went on to have a tremendous amount of success. In one had a lot of success in California. Another one wins this class at the Colorado State Fair. Had a gilt that won either 5 or 6 shows here in Illinois for Kinsley Hamilton, and ended up winning her class at the State Fair. Also kept 5 other gilts out of that litter. Just tremendous quality. Finally got that sow back into production. Got a bred to bold move here, and I think we got one barrow out of that litter there that I think's pretty intriguing one.
For sure, and I think when you talk about the predictability in the bottom side of that pedigree and then the mating with bold move and what we've seen here of this sample size and contemporary group, this blue pig's very intriguing. And not to take away from our belted one, but he answers some of the things that if you're wanting to feed one that's got some more top shape, that's got a little more hip and just lower stifle muscle in him right now at this phase, he does answer that call. But I still think this one, in terms of having some extra extension and length, reading to have a really good type of square skeletal base, is very good. And again, this one's good from the side, but to me the most impressive view of this one is going away. I think a big stout square hip, very good off of his hip and rear leg, and still has a big top shape laid in him. This is one that, again, and I think with his color pattern gives him a lot of versatility. These blues certainly are going to stand out, even if they're competing against darks or belts. And when they're this good and this good built, I think it's kind of hard to ignore a good blue one built like that. And again, I think a big feeding window here as well. Depends on what your target is, but certainly has the base and the muscle and the right type of maturity at this point to feed to a couple different end goals depending on what your priority is.
Yeah, absolutely. It echo what Clay said on the feeding window. I think this one tailor made for July and August, and I still think you could show this one and jackpot this one as well too. There in in May, June, July, depending on if you've got that light cross division, and I think that one can really excel. But like I said, just the feedability of that one with some pretty extreme pieces that I think I think that one's just built right to have a pretty fun summer.